So I'm back. This is my second video back. I'm so excited. I'm so overwhelmed with the support that I got on my first video. All of y'all's comments was so sweet. I'm still posting daily over on TikTok. I'm showing off all of the lovely plants that I have in my home, outside of my home, plants I have propagating and whatnot. It's 100 days of that, but I think I might go over it. I'm kind of curious to see all the different plants I have and how far the genuses span. I haven't done that in a long time. I think the last time I counted I had around 140 plants, and I definitely have more now. But speaking of that, I have to bring a lot of plants in from summer inside, and along with that comes some issues. When you put plants outside, they can get bugs. Hold on.
You're good. You sound a little nervous. Very nervous.
Yeah, because you're fucking sitting there staring at me.
Do you want me to leave?
No. But a lot of plants outside for the first time this year. Last year I was collecting houseplants. I put a few plants outside. The unfortunate thing about our backyard is a lot of it is south facing and a lot of it is hot direct sun. This guy I put under our carport and he is absolutely massive. This leaf was actually the leaf that caught my eye in store. Because Birkins are first of all, this is a very common plant. This is a plant that you can find at Home Depot for around $10–15. You can even find some that you can rehabilitate for a couple bucks. I'm sure they would definitely cut you a deal on one of these bad boys. But you can find them where they have some beautiful red striping in the stems, and that can cause them to have what's called a cherry color variegation that can show through the backs and through the fronts of the leaf. Now this guy has been outside for the past 2 months. I think I've had him for. He is fully root bound and was root bound in the pot that he came in. This is a full coco coir mix. This has essentially no nutrients in it, and it is just wet, soggy, boggy mess. Anything that you get from Home Depot or anywhere like that, Lowe's or anywhere, you want to immediately get it out of the soil that it's in. Not like immediately, but like as quick as you can, because it's very easy to overwater in this soil. It's very easy for you to neglect your plants without meaning to in this soil. Anyways, I pulled him out of there and I was like, okay, I definitely wanted to separate him because he gave me some super gorgeous leaves. The unfortunate thing is that both of them are now beautiful. So now instead of me having one that I clearly love and one that I clearly would, consider selling, is that now they both have a beautiful red streaking variegation. This one just now put out this leaf, which is like half white. So when you bring plants in from outside, and even when you get a new plant from the store, 9 times out of 10 they're going to have bugs in them of some sort. Whether that be little roly-poly bugs, or cockroaches, or fungus gnats, or spider mites. 9 times out of 10 you're going to find a pest of some sort on a plant that you find there. If not on the physical plant, on the foliage, you'll sometimes find it in the soil. But I have this guy soaking in a mix of Captain Deadbug, a little bit of Super Thrive for the inevitable shock this thing is going to go through, because I'm going to be separating him. I'm going to be putting one of them in Leca. I'm going to be putting the other one in soil just to do a little experiment. We'll see which one does better. We'll get into the Leca thing here in a bit. But I have him soaking in Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew. This is like my favorite houseplant insecticide, miticide, all in one. If you cannot, or if you do not have this, or don't have it on hand, this works amazing. This is just a spray bottle I got from the Dollar Tree. It has a couple tablespoons of isopropyl alcohol, like 70 to 90%. The rest of it's water and just a couple drops of dish soap, like Dawn. This will kill any bug on contact. This is a good thing to have. It's safe for your plants, safe for your roots, safe for your soil. Both of these are totally good to drench whatever you need to in these two things. So I'm scared what I'm gonna find when I pop these roots open, because I'm afraid that there might be more bugs in here. But also because, like I said, he's super root bound. So what I'm gonna do, I know I'm gonna rip roots. I know this is gonna be painful to a lot of people, but I'm here to tell you that he will be just fine. And if he's not, oh well. We had fun. We learned something. We did something. We explored. We had a good time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna gently kind of feel my way in here to try to find a loose spot where I can start to pry them apart. And then once I find the roots that have the easiest give to them, if I can detangle them, I will. If I cannot, I will split them. Just try to give yourself a little bit of give, and then just start pulling at soil. This guy is all roots on the outside, full dirt on the inside, of course. So even if you have to, like I said, we're starting one of these guys in Leca. He has plenty of aerial roots. He will be just fine. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to do things, to experiment, to see if you can save a plant from a freaking bug infestation, and experiment with new nutrients you got and put it in a substrate that you're not confident in. Buy the plant from Home Depot that you've been walking past that you're like, man, I don't know nothing about plants, but I really like that guy. Buy him. What's the worst that can happen? You murder him? Been there. But I might do it with this guy. Maybe. He's all just tangled. The way Birkins are grown, 9 times out of 10 these are grown in tissue culture, which means that they are multiplied. So they will take a mother plant, a mother Birkin, and they will decide that it is a beautiful mother Birkin, and they want to make many baby Birkins out of it. So they will take a piece of the node tissue or leaf and stem tissue. I'm pretty sure it has to be like a node piece. I don't do tissue culture, so I don't know a ton about it. But they have to take at least like a stem piece, and you can multiply the plant through scientific stuff that I don't know about, but would love to. Someday I would love to experiment with it. Heck yeah. My husband actually went to college for a little while for biology, so that'd be really cool. It's not, I mean, obviously I hear that it's, it's difficult, but it's something that people have learned to do at home, which is really, really awesome, because it makes plants more accessible to other people around the world. And to you, and to I. I'm so sorry. I mean, we got him. And he still has roots. This one got the more roots. The one with the leaf that show-stopped me. This one got the less roots. The one with the super pretty leaf that I showed you all. Oh, so now I'm going to take these bad boys outside. We're going to spray the roots off on one of these. I haven't decided which one I want it to be. I think we're going to do this one. The one with the smaller root system. We'll put this one in Leca, and we'll put this one back in soil. I'm going to try to get off any roots that I broke. I'm going to try to get off as much of this cocoa coir as I can, or cocoa peat, or whatever they call it. I'm going to try to get this off the roots. I'm going to put bonide in the soil mix that I'm using, which is usually a mix of Fox Farm, pine nuggets, perlite, and obviously bonide systemic, because when you're keeping plants outside, inside, it's best for you to have an in-soil insect repellent, because that will keep your plants from ending up like this, infested with bugs. So let's do that. Okay, so we're done with all that mess. We have our clean Leca. We have our plants. So we have plant number 1, the smaller of the two. This bad boy will be going into Leca. And then we have this guy who will be going into soil. We'll do him first. So here I have what is left of some of the blue Fox Farm soil. Not sponsored. a bag of perlite, orchid bark. I usually use pine bark. Pine bark is cheaper and is essentially the same thing as orchid bark. Just make sure that you are using some type of, like I said, systemic earlier. It'll help if you buy pine bark, or if you buy perlite, or if you buy soil in bulk, inevitably you are probably going to have bugs in there. So it's just best practice just to have something in your soil to keep that from happening. Especially if you are like me and you're buying big bags of pine bark nuggets instead of the smaller bags of Miracle Grow, the orchid bark, because it's just cheaper all around. So pine bark nuggets and perlite. So I'm going to, and bonide, systemic, like I said, super important if you're using like pine bark nugget, like mulch, instead of like treated orchid bark that's more expensive. Anyways, so we're gonna pot him up in a little 6-inch pot. I know it's not enough room. I do not want to shock him. He was root bound, so you want to try to not up pot them too big to where they freak out and they don't know what to do. So this will help keep his roots closer to him, and it will be more similar to what he was just in, essentially. So I'm going to put just a touch of soil on the bottom here, and we're going to even see if I can fit him in here. And, oh, look at that. Hello, baby. Do I want to rip this baby off? I mean, I might as well. It's either that or he ends up growing into a second plant in the pot, which then will inevitably lead to what I just had to do, which is separating them. So we'll just go ahead and pull him right off, and we can throw him in like a tube. Why not? I mean, he's got a little root system. So anyways, let's shove this guy in here. Let's get him covered with soil. Usually whenever I repot a plant, especially if I'm changing a plant's substrate for some reason, all of the substrate, I will usually water them the first time with some Super Thrive. It just helps coddle the stress. Because he is going to be going from a super dense coco coir mix into this more epiphyte friendly potting mix that is heavy on bark, perlite, and such. He will have a little bit of ways before he is back to growing a new leaf every other week, the whole nine. Usually whenever you pot a plant, separate a plant, or propagate a plant, you're going to be looking at around about 2 to 3 weeks before you'll see that plant do anything else. It'll usually stop all growth, upward growth, and it'll start focusing more on the roots. So here's this guy. So I like to get him all in there, and I like to give him a good tap, get out any of the loose, and get him really down in there, and then a little water. Nothing crazy, nothing too like, I don't really want to like drench him, but I do want to get the substrate wet so he knows like this is your new home. The thing is when you change a plant's soil, that plant has cultivated a biodiverse environment within that pot. So no matter what, if you change that biodiversity in any way, that is what it's trying to recuperate back. It's trying to get its feet again. So this guy, all done in the pot, potted, his own man. He is by himself now, all alone. So he's there. Now, we have the Leca baby. So this one is smaller than the other one. Now, don't make fun of me, okay? You can use anything as a Leca container. I have this old cashews with sea salt. It has a wide enough opening, so if he decides that he wants to grow insane roots, I can easily pull him out of here. You want to try to make sure when you pick a vessel to put your plants in, when it comes to Leca, you want to try to make sure that the bottom of the container is not much bigger than the top, because when you go to pull this plant out, whenever it gets root bound, you don't want to get stuck, because then you have to figure out what to do. You will get a little bit stuck. no matter what you do. But if you are using something like a mason jar, you're going to want to keep in mind that the bottom of the mason jar is much bigger than the mouth of the mason jar, so it will make for some pullback. So we have our Leca here. So I'm just going to give him a quick cover of the bottom. Now, the nutrients that I got to play around with Leca this time around, I played around with Leca when I first got into houseplants, probably 6 to 8 months in, and I used the 3-step system, the Flora Grow series, and it was not that I wasn't impressed, but I'm somebody who is a very lazy Leca owner. I'm a very lazy Leca parent. I'm somebody who likes to give the plant its nutrient water and just kind of let it be. And not only that, but I want the whole process of making that nutrient water to be as easy as possible. So I found a new product called Liquid Gold Leaf. It is expensive, disclaimer, but I wanted an all-in-one pH balancing and nutrient system where I didn't have to do 3 different steps plus add in other things that I was missing. This is the full spectrum of nutrients that a plant will need to grow in a substrate like Leca, which is water-based and has no nutrient value. This has no nutrient value. All the nutrients that you are adding to this plant, you're going to be adding through the water that you make. So, we got our Leca in about 1/4 of the way up. We're gonna take our guy and we're gonna put him in. And I've found with Leca that it's best to try to separate the roots as much as you can when you set it on top of the Leca. So you don't want a bunch of roots to be like on top of each other or like balled up super close together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold him to like this level, and I'm gonna fill in around him with Leca. That way I'm not smashing his roots on top of each other and then smashing a bunch of Leca on top of it. You want the roots to intermingle with the Leca and not just be in the Leca, if that makes sense. So I don't have a cup, so we're just literally gonna use my hand. And I'm just gonna fill him in, and I'll speed this up. Keep wanting to grab it.
I can't believe you found a baby.
I think there's this one too. There's one started. I like to tap this. I like to tap it and get the Leca around, and then you can go back in and add more. I'm going to try to get as many of these aerial roots in here as I can. That'll just help him with the whole Leca process. If I can get a new set of roots to grow from, let's say, this area up top, where he has some new little roots coming in, if I can get them to grow down into the Leca, those roots have a better chance of surviving than these roots in here, because these roots were formed in soil. So it is always best to try to get as many of the new little baby aerial roots in here as you can. It'll just make your life easier in the long run. Because he'll probably try to do that anyways. He'll probably try to grow aerial roots down into the substrate anyways, because it is going to be a new substrate. So, I got him in here. So when I read the instructions for the liquid gold leaf, it said 4 milliliters of the solution for a irrigation system. So that is what I have mixed in here. I said earlier this was a Super Thrive solution. This is not. This is a liquid gold leaf solution. So we are going to put him in there, and then I will take him and give him a little bit, like a little couple drops of Super Thrive, just in their containers, both of them. So I want to fill this. You want to fill this up right where the water is, right below the root line. So we have the roots right about here, and then we have our water level about here. Now all of the roots from the top here will attempt to grow down into this leca. And you have all your nutrients in your liquid gold leaf. And yeah, like I said, you want to give both of these babies, if you're separating a plant, you want to give them adequate light and extra humidity if you can do it. If you can put them a little bit closer to the humidifier, definitely the way to go. Oh, I forgot about the baby. I'll pot him up separately in a little mason jar. They're okay at a baby size in a mason jar, but putting larger plants in larger mason jars have not worked out well for me. So I've just found plastic is a little bit easier. You can always cut into it if need be. So that's the good thing about that. But yeah, so not only did we bring a plant in from outside that needed to come in from outside because we're going into wintertime, we treated it for pests and bugs and transitioned it from being an outdoor plant into an indoor plant. We separated it into two beautiful mother plants that now can pup and give their beautiful cherry red leaves. This is such an underrated plant, and I think because of the popularity of it and the kind of swarm that they got of them back in 2019 before I got into the plant world, I think by the time I got into the plant world, Birkins were kind of like old news, you know? But I think they're pretty cool. I think they're like a hidden gem. I think they're one that people overlook. For me, they can get boring, but then that's when I like to kind of chop them up and see like how much red I can get. So yeah, if you come across one of these in a Home Depot or Lowe's, I highly suggest you get one. Super easy, just like any other philodendron. Super easy care. It'll tell you when it needs water. The leaves will feel a little bit more flimsy, a little bit less voluptuous and nice. He might look a little wilted. He might look a little sad. I give him ambient light. Usually I do my plants in either east or west windows because those windows get light but not intense light. So I'm going to put both of them in a west-facing sliding door. They will be close to a humidifier, so that will help if either one of them starts to experience any bad things, like wilting, like going into shock, like leaf death, things like that you want to look out for. So I'm going to give them good light, I'm going to give them good humidity, and we'll see what their growth looks like in a couple weeks. We'll see if one of them lived and one of them died, or if, you know, they're both cool and kicking it and good, and, you know, we'll just see what happens. And also, I have to bring in other plants from outside. And one of them has a bird's nest in it, of course. So I'm probably going to have to show you all how to remove a bird's nest out of a Mandula pothos. So, yeah. So I guess next time you see me, we'll do that. Or y'all can catch me over on TikTok. I usually post daily. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for separating all these little beautiful Birkin babies that everybody hates low-key, but are cool plants, I think. I freaking think. So, alright y'all. Thank you. Oh, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. I'm at PlantedInWv. Katie Craig. Thank you. Bye y'all. Hi, it's Editing Katie here. I wanted to give you all a quick update. These guys are fully happy. No rot. Happy as a clam. Like nothing ever happened.